Yeah, we can. We're up.
Look at that. Good morning, Michael Knight. How are you?
Pretty good, Vinny. Is it a Monday? Is that why it feels this way?
No, it's a Wednesday, and it feels like. Well, I don't know. How are you feeling? Let's start. Let's start there.
Well, I was all ready to watch the Jimmy Kimmel show this morning. I taped it last night, and I would have. I did see the highlights, but the shooting in Dallas preempted any celebration that we have over free speech because right after the First Amendment is the Second Amendment. That's where the guns come in.
Yeah, Michael, lower your camera down a little bit. I'm up. We're
Oh,
basically getting your. Yeah. We're basically getting the bookshelf.
I was
Uh,
not paying attention.
I'm gonna do that.
The, the network headroom.
Yeah. Well, you always want to have some headroom. I always think, but um, well, yeah. For anybody who might not have heard, it was a shooting at a small, what appears to be a satellite ICE facility in right on the borderline of Dallas and Fort Worth. Oddly enough, on the Stemmons Freeway and right at the exit to Love Field in Dallas. So if you want to get your uh, stuff about your memory and things that you remember about your youth kicked in,
Get
this
your
is the one to
bearings.
do it for you because it's all the familiar names are there, except for the Texas Book Depository, which I believe was taken down a number of years ago, or at least was decommissioned
You
as
took,
the Texas Book Depository.
you took the building down.
I don't know. I mean, I visited there on the first anniversary of 9/11. Oddly enough, I was in Dallas. And I thought it would be a very interesting place to go and to be on that day. And I don't think I was wrong. I thought it was very interesting, and Americans like to gather in places when things like that happen. But yeah. So anyway, there was a shooting this morning. There was two people that were killed, which we don't know for sure yet. We understand that they may very possibly be not officers, but detainees. The third person that is dead reportedly is the shooter who took his own life. Again, this is all according to police reports. We don't know what's true, what's not true, or anything as it stands right now. But that is the story as it stands right now. That no law enforcement officers were injured in the making of this tragedy.
Thought there was only one dead, and that was the shooter. I
Uh,
read about that.
no, there were two people in the facility and the shooter.
And he
So
shot from outside, sniper style, right?
that's yeah. Evidently, they were in some building close by, elevated, and they shot into the building. I don't know really a lot more than that about it, but um, according to the latest reporting from CBS News, um, that's where it sits. They have said that they will come back and tell us more when they know more, and we all know that that's a lot of hooey.
I saw the press conference, and it sets a record for least amount of information imbued by 10 different department heads, sheriff,
Yeah,
mayor,
yeah.
FBI. Everybody was there. Nobody said anything.
Except that I just found it. I found it interesting that Ted Cruz, first of all, showed up and stuck his face in there. This is a guy that never saw a camera that he didn't love. Uh, but secondly, uh, gave us a lecture on how we all need to be nicer in our speech. The guy who may be one of the leaders of hate speech in Congress, sitting there and telling us. Now, I don't disagree with him that we need to be nicer, but I don't think that he's the guy that you should follow the example of.
It
I don't
shows
think
you
there's.
what serious straits we're in for Ted Cruz to be giving advice for peace, love, and understanding.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. But you know, he'll whore himself out to a camera any possible way he can. He was all over the news on Sunday morning talking about Jimmy Kimmel. So again, he'll, I mean, if you had some nerve, if you had any kind of balls, you would go up to the guy that you helped get elected president of the United States, and you would say to him, "We're not going to take this bullshit anymore. That there are rules the way this thing runs around here." But no, he wouldn't have the nerve to do that because he's afraid he might lose some money.
Well, the atmosphere around Jimmy's return was pretty much lauded in the entertainment industry and in the journalism industry. But Donald Trump was pissed off because, or so he related in his online messaging, angry that he had been assured that Jimmy Kimmel was done. His audience would never see him again, that he was finito. And this was in spite of the fact that even at the beginning of this incident, he was not fired, he wasn't dismissed, he'd been suspended. And that suspension didn't last very long. Trump couldn't quite believe it. He had been assured by the ABC people that Kimmel was done.
You know, even if you are
or so he said.
Yeah, even if you're a Donald Trump fan, even let's say you're one of those people who just believe everything he says and think that he is the greatest president we've ever had, and he should be the fourth base on Mount Rushmore, and just all this stuff that him and his people try to shove down your throat. Do you not find it sickening that somebody would take such pleasure and joy out of seeing so many people put out of work? I mean, if Jimmy Kimmel goes out, that's a couple of hundred people, right?
Yeah.
And from the parking lot attendant guy that plays his sidekick to the actual parking lot attendants, to the businesses around the theater down there where they do it, to the Yahtzee craft people, the work different people, all of the people. I mean, it takes a couple of hundred people to put on a production like that every day. And
the guests that are promoting their events.
Well, we won't even put the guests in for a second. We'll just put the regular people that have jobs that depend on that $125,000, $130,000 paycheck every year to make them get them through it, right? That they live, they probably
the financial footprint of the whole operation,
right? Is it just not sickening that we have a president who's supposed to be a leader of all the people of this country, that it takes joy and takes glee in seeing people put out of work? It takes joy and takes glee in seeing people lose their jobs, their families, their homes, their livelihoods. Takes joy out of seeing people pushed to the edge of where one might do something drastic if they are of a weaker or a stressed out mind. That somebody may walk into their house or a place or some place and do something drastic. How many times do we hear of people who lost their jobs and take their lives? We don't even have to take it up to other things. Just to they lost their job and they decided to go park in their car somewhere in the airport parking lot and blew their brains out because they didn't know how they were going to go on through life. And this blonde-haired fuck takes pleasure out of that. He takes a certain sense of pride that he could get 200 people fired at ABC or the production company, whoever it is that's producing Jimmy Kimmel Live. I think it's
keep in mind that Trump recently said that he did not forgive his enemy. He hated his enemy.
That's yeah. I mean, that's that old Italian. You know, the old mustache Pete's used to do that. In you know, you used to see that in all the neighborhoods. There always had people. There were always people that got into an argument with their neighbor or with their somebody
With
about
neighbors.
something stupid, and that argument carried through until the day they died. There's a lot. I mean, we had one in our, you know, my father and the guy that lived next door to us. I've often said their names. The Carentes were our neighbors for years, and we were taught as kids to hate those people because of an argument that my father got into with this guy about a center line in the driveway. The whole crux of the argument was the center line in the driveway.
And how can there be two opinions on that?
There shouldn't be. You wouldn't think there is, but they figured out a way to hate each other. We moved into that house in 1958. I left the house in 1973, I think. And I don't know that I uttered 10 words to to the family all of that time. And we're taught literally as kids to hate them. Not only were we taught as kids, my sisters and our people, but their kids were. They had a big family. I think 5, 6 kids. The cousins, you know, it was, and it stuck with me my entire life about how you could derive, and I can understand it. I mean, there's certain instances where, yeah, you derive people seeing them get what they deserve in certain cases. I'm not saying I'm innocent and I have never thought that about somebody. But I don't know. I don't know. I hope to God I never thought about it about somebody that was innocent. I hope to God I never thought it about somebody that was working for somebody and was doing it as a matter of course of their employment. That you know, they were typing up scripts.
And were the Corinthians as committed to it as the Richichis?
Yeah, they were pretty committed to it too. It was one of those old style Italian vendettas. You know, we hate you, you hate us. The only time I ever remember something different about it, to be honest with you, was when I was I don't know 10 years old. I had an operation on my leg. When I had it when I had to go into the hospital, and I was having some kind of trouble because I was in a wheelchair and I couldn't move the wheelchair along the sidewalk. And the sister of the people that live upstairs, she was I think she was a nurse or a nurse's aide or something like that. She wore a white uniform. She came over and helped me push the chair, you know, off of this thing that I was stuck on again, and pushed it to in front of my house. Didn't say a word to me.
Wow.
Didn't say. I said thank you, because we were always taught when somebody did something for you to say thank you. And she just looked at me and then walked away. But it was that deep of a dislike, and you saw that. Not, you know, hundreds of thousands of times in neighborhoods all over New York, Philadelphia, Washington, Boston, where there was these Eastern European or Italian grudges that people held between nationalities. It was Italian, Sicilian, it was Armenian and Turkish. It was, and I just, to see that put in practical use in 2025, to see that kind of look at somebody that deriving pleasure from holding your foot on somebody. You know, it's the same thing that cop must have felt when he was holding his foot on George Floyd's neck. You know, it's the only thing I can equate it to, is that it just gives you this sense of immense power over another human being. And it's horrible.
Well, you know who can bring peace to the world, who's going to win the Nobel Peace Prize for all his work stopping 7 wars?
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
I'd give it to Putin before I'd give it to Trump.
7 wars he stopped, not the ones he intended to stop.
Name them.
He stopped the India-Pakistan war, the Israeli-Iranian war, the Azerbaijan Armenian war. There was wars going on apparently that we didn't know about. They got started and Trump stopped them before we even could get the names right. And Alfred Nobel says, please keep him out of my neighborhood. I don't want him remodeling my house.
If he'll go away, give him the prize. If he promises to die the next day, if he promises to leave the country, if he decides to, if he promises he'll never utter another word, we'll give him the prize. Just give him the prize and get him out of here. And then when he doesn't know anything about it, take it back.
That's a plan that I can live in.
Columbia or Cornell or any of the universities that the federal government has promised money to.
By the way, UCLA got $400 million back in their medical research as a result of a court case that Trump lost.
Good. I hope they get all the money that they deserve. And I'm no big fan of UCLA, but they were promised that money. They're supposed to get it. They
medical
should get
research.
It.
So you got a Mets cup. Nice one.
Yes, I got a home run cup. Useless. But we'll talk a little bit more about baseball later, because it was a pretty good night here in Seattle for baseball. It was a spectacular night for baseball.
The winning keeps on coming.
It's really a wonderful time to be a Mariners fan right now. But I don't want to lose my train of thought on Trump. So let me ask you this: where do we go from here? What is the next play for Jimmy Kimmel? What is the next play for Donald Trump?
Well, Kimmel's back, and ABC and Disney took their losses, took their lumps.
He was not completely back. He was not on the air here in Seattle last night.
Well, that's Sinclair's fault.
Sinclair and Daystar is
Nexstar.
Nexstar, yes. Daystar is the drug rehabilitation.
Same thing. Same thing.
I think it's a drug rehab thing, Daystar. But yes. So if you're in Seattle and you didn't have YouTube, or you didn't have any kind of satellite TV or streaming service, if you were, in an old person's home or something like that,
it comes up mud.
See Jimmy Kimmel last night.
Well, that's a technique or a approach to solving the problem that Nexstar and Sinclair will rue, because their only power, they believe, is dictating what Jimmy Kimmel has to say and what he has to do to earn their forgiveness, and not show his programming until they get what they want. But what they're going to have to do is pay for extra programming. You're going to have to pay for somebody to fill that spot. It's going to cost them financially. It's going to cost them psychologically. It's going to cost them in their relationship with their sponsors and their supporters and their viewers, and it's not going to come out
Yeah, they
I
filmed it.
think
They filmed it last night with a tribute to Charlie Kirk, I believe, is what they filled it with. You know, they have hours and hours and hours of programming put together by such luminaries of broadcasting as
Cash Patel.
Boris Epstein. You know who Boris Epstein is, or
I guess
Epstein?
can't say that I do.
Yeah, he's a Russian mouthpiece that's been around for a long time. He's one of Trump's close advisors, and I've always thought he was some kind of operative for Russia,
Yeah.
some kind of you know he's always on um, one of those fake cable networks that are always, you know, OAN or OSS or Sea Guile, or you know some
PDQ.
and so they have plenty of programming from him, from who was the other general there that went bad shit toward the end of the last Trump. Was it? I don't want to get his name wrong because he's
The madcap who
yeah, I can't remember his name now, but he was the one who was colluding with the Russians. Was in bed with the Russians, and
he was
uh,
what the Russians call a useful idiot.
yeah. He was exactly. Matter of fact, I think he was the guy the term was invented for. Um,
The
so you know they have
the
plenty of.
general with dark hair. He's a general in the army. He's got dark hair. I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, it's. I think it's in Irish. Flynn.
There you go.
Flynn. Is it Mark Flynn or
It's Biff.
yeah, Biff Flynn. He's one of those. You know, he's one of those guys that are up Trump's ass, and you know he's raising money. He's raising money for all sorts of right wing, you know, make America great again causes. And when you do that, they give you a spot in the board of directors building or whatever it is there. So that's what you're going to get from your, you know, your Seattle affiliate. I think it's Washington D.C. I think it's a bunch of other Texas cities. I think there's a number of cities that Sinclair is involved in. They got rid of it. It's nothing to do, and I want to make this clear, it is nothing to do with the radio station. They after the sale was done back in was it now 3 years or so that sale's done, they reached some kind of deal where they would take their call letters back. So now the the radio station is known as like KNWX or something like that. There's a couple of different AM and FM call letter type.
They had to surrender the Como calls, or did they choose to?
No, they had to give them back. From what I understand, again, I don't know, but they had to give the Como calls back. That was part of the deal that they reached. That they could keep them for a certain amount of time, but if they couldn't find another pair of calls that were to their liking, they had to give them back to Sinclair. And I forget what the other calls were, because I think there was a set of calls in Portland, maybe KATU, a set of calls in Washington that were also set up the same way with the AM, FM, and the TV, all and you know, I didn't keep that close of an eye on it, to be honest with you, that I would remember exactly what everything was going on. But let's just
Is the audience in Seattle and Portland grateful for having the boycott of Jimmy Kimmel, or would they rather have the programming?
I didn't see anybody really say anything about it, to be honest with you. I didn't see anybody who was upset about it. Didn't see anybody who was upset about it, not upset, had really much of anything to say about it. I mean, I checked my Facebook feed this morning and my Twitter feed, and really didn't hear much about it at all. So it gives me great faith in America that people are able to find. It's a little rougher in the case of the Northwest because people actually had to look for Jimmy Kimmel. They could, they had to either go on the internet and find it or on different, however they could get it, because it, KA2U or whatever the calls were for that station was also part of it as well. So they had to figure out some way to get it. I don't know how they did it. I went to YouTube and it was on there. So
Was it live?
ABC made a wise decision in just broadcasting it. It's probably the best rated show they're going to have all year.
I would think so.
I mean, how many people? I mean, who's watching anything on ABC lately?
Monday Night Football.
Yeah, no. That's on ESPN, isn't it?
It's on both.
Oh, is it on both? Yes, yeah. I watch it. I think on. Maybe I watch it on ESPN. I forget what I watch it on, but I don't think their news is really good. I don't think it's. I like one of the guys that they have on there, but other than that, I don't think their news is a great product. I don't think that everything else that they do is kind of sleepy.
And they've tried dealing with Trump both ways, paying him $16 million in the George Stephanopoulos settlement and fighting him, as they're doing now with Jimmy Kimmel. And how it works out in the long run is yet to be determined. But Trump was saying that, well, I was promised that Kimmel was gone. Now he's not gone. So we'll have to take this up further with ABC and see how that goes. In other words, another demand, another shakedown, another. I got my hand in your pocket.
We saw from that FCC commissioner. Listen, truer words were never spoken. And we've been talking about this for years. That this guy they're so emboldened now that they feel like they can actually, like they can wear silk suits and walk into a casino and stick their fingers behind the cage. They feel it, they feel that emboldened now. That's what they are. That's who they are. And again, I ask anybody who has a Trump sticker on their car or wears a Trump hat or anything to do with Trump, how do you justify it? How do you justify it to your neighbor who just lost his job because Trump had his other douchebag buddy, Elon Musk, walk into a federal building and fire half the people, even though he had no idea what even they did in the building?
He had no authority to do anything.
No authority, no idea, no nothing. How do you feel now? Do you feel good? Are you getting invited to the same amount of barbecues that you did in the past?
I can't see myself inviting Leon Mux to a barbecue.
Well, you'd have to hide the knives.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Even if they're plastic serrated knives.
Even if they're plastic, yeah, because now he wants. Well, I guess he doesn't want his sons or his children to be circumcised. That's his new demand, is that he doesn't want to give his children.
That decision was up in the air for how long?
he's going to be what, Michael?
That decision was up in the air for how long before he finally made up his mind?
8 months, wasn't it? Well, he didn't made up his mind. She said no. The woman who he was having the baby with evidently said, well, you know what? I'm Jewish, and I'm not playing that game. We're having the kid circumcised. And if you don't like it, you can fire up your lawyers. But I'm sticking to my guns. I don't care if you're the richest person in the world. I don't care. I don't care.
It's a powerful position that many people in America are taking these days. The I don't care.
Well, it'll be the ruination of the country. I mean, because if you get too many people who don't care about something, people actually stop caring about it.
Funny thing is, when they don't care, they really don't care to the point where it appears they're caring about something else. You do care, maybe not about that thing, but about something else you really care. And it's obvious. It's painful to watch.
Although it is worth watching. It is worth seeing what they're up to. It is worth following along with what they're doing. But I don't know who will eventually win that one, because I think ultimately the women gets the decision, right?
It's a mom thing.
Yeah, I think ultimately the woman gets to make the decision, and he will find out what a loser. Probably. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know family law or have any idea, but I have to think that she is going to get some kind of not preferential, but she's going to get some kind of weight in that equation. It'll come down on her side. So maybe he'll lose another one. Maybe Trump will call him up and say, boy, look at what I did there. I got you out of that jam. I'm such a good guy.
I've stopped 7 wars, and now this. There's not much I can't do, not much I can't achieve. Except I can't pronounce acetaminophen. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a try. I should read over these remarks before I make them. But
Trump,
what's the point?
It's like my father, where you'd say, well, yeah, whatever, that thing.
Yeah.
Give me 2 of those. What a shit show! What an absolute shit show! And just think, Michael, there's 3 more years of it coming, at least.
I wonder. Good luck predicting what's coming. It's coming down the pike, whatever it is, but good luck predicting it.
Yeah. There's something coming, and I don't know that we know what it is.
Now, I don't know what the pike is, but stuff comes down the pike.
Something's coming down the pike, and there's no more toll booths to stop it. You know, there's little cameras to take pictures, but there's no more toll booths. There used to be a friendly guy there that he'd say good morning, and he'd hand you a receipt if you wanted one. And those guys were good. They could get that receipt right in your hand.
Yep.
When you were going through that toll booth, man, I'm sure they were just as good at it as the Golden Gate Bridge as they were on the Triborough.
Sure they were.
But you'd go and you'd hand them the quarter, and they'd have a motion where they could take the quarter, slap the receipt in your hand,
and off you go.
And off you go.
Never come to a full stop.
Never have to come to a full stop. You never had to think about it. They could have been handing you a check for $100,000.
Part of the confusion was people that are on the pike don't know that they're on the pike. They're looking for the pike, and it's already there. And there's a pike, and then there's a turnpike. So careful which one you're on.
Well, you're on the pike, and then are you on the Connecticut Turnpike, or are you on the Mass Pike?
Well, I don't know.
Or are you on the New Jersey Turnpike?
I'm not certain.
Or are you on the Pennsylvania Turnpike? The original Turnpike. Many people don't know this, but the Pennsylvania Turnpike was the original first vehicular toll road.
Does the turnpike have to have a toll booth?
I think it does. I think it does. I think you have to have a toll booth. I think you have to have facilities set up, collect and make change and everything. Yeah, I think you got to have
where you can turn the pike. So is there a room or a headquarters where the pike is actually turned?
Well, yeah, you got to have a building for administration. You got to have an office where people can work to count those tolls, that money, the money that they're making, that they're taking in. You have to have toll booths, tall ones, so that the trucks can get through. People just think, well, it's cars. Clearance of 12 feet ought to be okay. But what happens when one of those 20-foot high trailers come through? Do you shut the whole thing down?
Or do you need stop? You need 16 feet or 18 feet of clearance then.
Yeah, I'd say maybe even more than that. Maybe you need a 20-footer. What about wide loads? What about a wide load? What about a when you go through with a crane or some kind of farm implement that's like a combine? Those have to get from A to B.
Harvester, that's a tough one to get through the turnpike.
Yeah, what do you do with that?
Get a receipt because of the multiple axles.
Again, has Trump figured that out? Has he stopped that war? I'm thinking. So,
Turnpike.
Did Trump accomplish anything here? I mean, does he look better? To me, Kimmel won this thing flat out.
And if you take a look at Trump's performance in the past couple of days, he seems to be off the treadle, as they say. His pronunciation, his presence, his visage, the look on his face as he's making a speech to the United Nations, all supportive of the suggestion that he's not right, that he is failing in his ability to bring attention to problems and to focus on his speeches and to sharpen his communication. When it's most important, he has difficulty in maintaining his presence of mind. And
his facilities, his general mental facilities,
they don't look right.
Yeah, see, I haven't paid that much attention to him, so I wouldn't know, to be honest with you.
The use of his face during the speech of the United Nations, especially, seemed to be off, and that's the word I'm looking for. Unfocused.
Yeah,
halting.
What I've seen, and again, I will readily admit that I just when I see him so sickened by the look that I just really go past it, or I stop to see if he's saying anything. Other words, declaration of war. Other words, we've robbed the bank for all we can. We're getting on small boats and headed toward Bimini. Those kinds of strange things. We've done that. We've got what else what else you got from him?
The score is keeping with the Venezuelan drug dealers. How many that he's killed in their cigarette boats? It's still up in the air.
Still the same, right? He didn't kill any more. I mean, I guess maybe one of them called him up and said, if you take any more of our drug dealers, we're going to take your kid Eric. And he said, well, a big
What's stopping them? It's a
didn't
fair
say,
trade. No, it
yeah, go ahead,
didn't.
knock yourself out.
Go
Good.
ahead. Go
What,
ahead.
what a zoo. You happen to watch any of the Mariners game last night?
Did not.
Oh, Mikey, you get yourself ready for the playoffs, pal. I think this team. I wrote it on my Facebook thing this morning, my Facebook post this morning, that I believe that the Seattle Mariners are
The
going to be the
favorites.
team to beat in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think they have everything they need. They don't have the greatest hitting in the world, but they have enough good hitting. They don't have eh, they don't have an overwhelming abundance of anything, but that's what makes them good because they got the right amount of everything.
They got what they do have is the right amount.
Yeah, they have the right amount of everything, and they seem to be able to call on it at the right time to be able to get it. It was a remarkably unspectacular game last night, except for the fact that they won the game.
And they're really stacking up the wins. What, they got 16 out of 20 games or something like that.
Yeah, and they're doing it. They're not overpowering people. They're not like going out there and hitting 15 home runs or something like that in the game. They're they're hitting the ball, or they're capitalizing on other people's mistakes, which will win you, I think, a lot of baseball games. They're delivering not overwhelmingly get up out of your chair and cheer hits, but they're delivering hits when it counts, when they need it. You're not getting 4 innings of 5 runs apiece out of them. In the 8th inning, you're getting enough runs to pull ahead of the other team by 2 runs and go home.
And you got a guy who beat Mickey Mantle's switch hitter home run record, and that's really a remarkable feat. And 58 home runs wins you a lot of games during the year.
Yeah,
you take home the flag because that consistent power performance.
And you have a. I like to call. It's amazing to me. I know. Listen, I've talked a lot to Dan Wilson over the years, and I find him to be a very thoughtful and intelligent person, a smart person. Always thought that it would be great if he could be the manager of this team, but I never gave it a lot of thought. I never said to myself, because it always seemed like this team wanted somebody who had a name, wanted somebody who was going to be, was going to be that hometown guy. But who's more hometown than Dan Wilson? Yeah, he's from Barrington, Illinois, but that doesn't matter. He's from Seattle now.
He is. He's a Mariner now.
He's a Mariner. He's one of us now. And he's got a bunch of Mariners around him that he can call up on at 4:00 in the morning and say, let's go out and figure out how to beat this team tomorrow. And they do, and he does. And next thing you know, they're beating teams that maybe it's time they got beaten.
Well, the great thing about this weekend is that now they've been anointed. Now it's not just a team with a spark and an interesting lineup. And how's their dumper? He's a big one. That's all you got to know.
Yeah.
What kind of dumper do you guys got?
He's the dumper. Well, why? Who cares? But the great part about his story, Michael, is, again, you have Juan Soto, who, listen, I did not complain when the Mets signed Juan Soto for $8 gazillion because they were a team that, and Soto's numbers should have helped the Mets win something this year. Doesn't look like they're going to help them win anything. But you can make a case that he was the right player for the right team at the right time.
It was going to be expensive, but he was available. So either you're in the game or you're not.
Cal Raleigh was the right player, available for the right team at the right time. I forget what his number is, but it wasn't like off the charts, obviously. But it was what the Mariners could afford. It was what they it wasn't. He's not going to be bouncing any checks soon, and he's going out and he is setting an example for the rest of his team. You don't have to make $1 gazillion in this game. You can have fun playing this game. There's still fun to be had playing this game. Show up, play smart, hit the ball, do your job, take advantage of your opportunities that are presented to you. And good things will happen.
You go to the All-Star game.
Yeah, you go to the All-Star game, you'll get to take your dad and your brother. And you'll all of a sudden you'll find yourself in the conversation for things like the MVP. You'll find yourself in the conversation for all of the good things that should happen. You'll fulfill. You'll be the guy who they say, you know what? They didn't spend all the money that the Mets spent to sign Soto, but they spent money to sign. Look what happened. They spent money. They signed Cal Raleigh. They didn't let him get away, and they were rewarded for that with who knows? Who knows where it'll go?
Well, a good example that falls in line with what you just said is that the Mariners made those late season acquisitions at first and third, and those paid off handsomely.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the kid from Cleveland has paid off. I think Naylor has paid off better than anybody would have expected him to. I think that they thought that the third baseman, Eugenio, I get tired saying his name.
Yeah, it takes an effort.
Yeah, couldn't he just call and the announcers just call him Gino. They just go with Gino, and I'm used to that because that's what they used to call Malkin all the time. Instead of trying to say Vigny, they didn't go there. They just said, "Oh yeah, Gino's at the park. Gino's at the stadium. Gino's."
He's having his pregame meal.
Yeah, but
excuse me.
You know what? He covered. He covered his. He did what he needed to do. He got some key hits. Not the best.
He had a double with the bases loaded. Scored 3 runs.
Yeah, not. He doesn't come through every time, but he comes through enough time. He's a professional hitter. Knows what he needs to do. Naylor's double last night was spectacular. It lit the whole place up. It hit it. You could hear horns honking in the street. The town of Seattle, the city of Seattle, is alive again with baseball.
Baseball fever.
And I will tell you, as I said before, Michael, I say this. The Super Bowls were great. They were unbelievable. They were a wonderful thing for this country, for this city, I should say. But you haven't seen anything until you've seen a World Series. The way a World Series takes a town for 4, 5, 6, 7 games. and takes it over.
Just don't cook it. That's all I'm asking. Don't preface so thoroughly that this is going to be a great year for the Mariners and then let it go. Right now, the opposite of that seems to be true. They win the games they have to win. They put together winning streaks. They've avoided injuries. They've got a pitching staff that's going to be equal to the task ahead of them. They got big bats who are ready to play every day. Just don't cook it.
They got pitching. They've got pitching. And as you and I both know, you don't need to have all of that pitching during a playoff. You only need to have really a superstar reliever, and three guys that can start games.
Right now, the Dodgers, who are a team that everyone's going to have to beat, is describing their bullpen as the worst ever in Dodger history. And in spite of that,
we'll get a chance to see him on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday up here.
In spite of all that, they're winning. Yeah, see if that comes to be a factor in those games.
I'll take that. I will, without a doubt, I will take a Dodger Mariner World Series.
Oh yeah, West Coast stars.
I know some people will complain. They'll say, "Well, this guy doesn't know." I'll take it. Bring on whoever you got. Bring on Kiki and this guy and that guy, and bring them all on. Bring Otani, and they'll march Ichiro out there, his boyhood idol. They'll have Ichiro stand up and walk up and down the top of the dugout between innings.
That would be hilarious.
Have a son, remember me? I signed an autograph for you when you were in third grade. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. I'm hoping. I'm believing that the Mariners. I'm feeling confident that the Mariners are going to get into this thing, and they're going to go. They're going to go far. They're going to get into this thing. They're going to get some breaks along the way, which we need, and you go from there. And maybe one day you wake up, and Seattle has its first World Series appearance, its first Commissioner's Trophy.
And that's interesting because as long as they've been in this race throughout the summer, they never really presented themselves as the team to watch, the ones to bank on, the ones to bet on. They didn't look like they were going to pull it off based on the way they were playing in the dog days of summer. But when September rolled around, everything got focused. And now we're in a situation that we can only hope that they pull it off, because that would be magic for Seattle. Magic in the streets.
Yeah, it's gonna be something to watch. I'm feeling good about the team. I feel good about the management of the team. I feel good about just about the way everything is falling in place for this team. This is a team that could, God forbid, but if a starting pitcher gets hurt, if somebody gets, for whatever reason, goes belly up, there are people behind him.
Yeah, and you have the depth of the teams are lacking.
Depth there that they're looking at and saying, okay, if Brian Wu for some reason can't go, well, they got the next guy up. They have people. Mike Tomlin used to say it all the time with the Steelers: next man up. No excuses. Next man up. We're all supposed to be as good as that guy.
That's your job.
That's why you're here. Yeah. That's why you're here. So it'll be It'll be rock and rolling. The only thing that I'm sad about, Michael, to be honest with you, is that the regular season's over. You know, that this weekend will be it, and there's always a little sadness around baseball season, the end of baseball season, but it feels like
Bittersweet.
it feels like there's a story to be written. You know, it feels like there's I don't know, maybe I'm just overly optimistic. Maybe I'm giddy. Maybe I have some youthful enthusiasm that's
Well,
caught up with me.
that's the way you should feel when you're on the bandwagon.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I've said I'm willing. Listen, there's no to me that the bandwagon has all the seats that it needs. Plenty of seats, and if you're any kind of baseball fan, as you say you are, you put your hand out and you help the next guy get on the bandwagon. You don't say, "Oh, I've been here since 1977, so I was here when this happened, or when that happened, when this happened." No, no, no. You put your hand out, you grab on, and you pull the people onto the bandwagon.
Tell them how to sit and how to act, how to present
Right,
themselves.
because this is the one place where we're not supposed to be divided. This is the one place where we're all supposed to come together. This is the one place that we're not supposed to feel separated, this, that, and the other thing. The only thing that's supposed to separate us here is that, that maybe we like we like one shortstop better than the second baseman. Or we like this one center fielder better, maybe Raleigh is your guy instead of Julio, or that's what's supposed to separate us at this level. But they're all our guys. And they're all going to help this team get to the World Series and win it this year and win the game.
But you got to have a guy. Who's your guy?
Undoubtedly Raleigh is the guy.
Yep.
Undoubtedly, Cal Raleigh is the guy. He is, I believe, he is the guy on this team, man. He is the guy that is going to reach out and pull his teammates up when they are down and make it when they fall down. He's the guy that's going to reach out. He's the guy. And it's funny because usually that guy has a ton of experience and has a ton of, he's been to the playoffs many times before. And he's been to to the World Series a couple of times before. And he's been here and he's been there. And
not this team.
Not this team. No, they're going to do it on their own. They're going to do it. They don't need that. They got themselves. They're going to enjoy the enjoyment. Hopefully it'll work. I think it will. I'll put my money on that it will.
Well, we're all Mariner fans now.
Yeah, except those bums in LA, man.
Remember, the chant is beat LA, beat LA. It's simple, it's direct, it tells a story. That's your chant.
I think you'll hear it a lot on Friday. Matter of fact, I think people might get ready for it. You might hear it tonight and tomorrow night.
Practice.
Against
practice your chant.
Your beat LA chant will get warmed up, and I think it'll the one thing that I preach and that I hope that'll be is right now it's beat Colorado.
Yes.
Beat Colorado tonight.
And they won't take it personally. They've been losers all year. They're used to it. Don't worry about their feelings.
An atrocious bullpen. Really a bullpen where
bad things happen.
That anybody who's in this, you talk about wearing face masks, because of ice. This is a bullpen that ought to wear masks and not let anybody see who they are. They should
Paper
have
bag.
uniforms with no numbers on the back and masks. Because you don't want anybody to know that you were in that bullpen for
Now
that team.
pitching a guy that we got from somewhere else. You don't want to know his name. Here he comes. He won't be here long.
Won't be long. Just go in there and save him. Go in there and uh, go in there and throw the ball and try to get out of there without getting hurt.
Where do you guys get your bullpen pitchers? Well, we get them when they're DFA'd elsewhere. You DFA somebody, we got them.
Pirates have been getting them there for years.
Well, by the way, the Clemente documentary was on last night, and I taped it, but I haven't seen it yet.
I did not see it. I didn't even tape it. I'll just go. You can do those as a on demand. So I'll take a look at that. The other thing I saw this morning was the trailer for the Springsteen movie. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen the trailer. No.
It's on YouTube. Looks pretty good.
Well, if you make a movie out of Springsteen live performance, I don't know how you'd mess it up so that it wouldn't be good. I don't know how you'd come to finish that project and say, this whole movie stinks. What were we thinking?
Wow. It's just, it boggles the mind to think that they'll be making that there's a movie coming out about Springsteen. I mean, it's like, remember when we were kids and on the weekends that they had the before football caught on, there was the movies, and you'd watch like Raymond Massey doing Abraham Lincoln. Or who was it? Don Amici doing Alexander Graham Bell.
Yeah. That one I don't remember.
One of my father's favorite things he used to say, one of his favorite facts he used to say, is that the American public is so dumb, and this was in the 50s, so they had to be an extra set of dumb, that they did some survey, and more than 50% of the people that took the survey thought that Don Amici invented the telephone.
Well, in his spare time.
Because he played Alexander Graham, or was it Don? Yeah, it was Don Amici.
Plus, how do the Bickersons talk to each other during the day when they can't argue in person?
They picked up the phone. That's the beauty of it. That was the whole thing. So I don't know, but just the fact that there's a Springsteen movie just blows me away. I can't wait. I think it's October, the second week in October. It hits the telly.
What's the name?
Oh, wait! Don't tell me. Not Born to. But no, I can't think of it offhand. It's got an interesting title. It's obviously a Springsteen reference title. Delivered Me from Nowhere.
It's like his childhood.
Yeah, well, I think if the trailer is any indicator, it has there's a lot of references to some guy sitting in his kitchen with
Ain't there always
shirt on, and it's in black and white. So
yeah,
I think there's probably a lot of Catholic boy references in there. October 24th, Jeremy Allen White as Bruce Springsteen in Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere. The trailer's on YouTube, and it looks like it's
if you saw the trailer, does the kid sing or does Springsteen?
I think the kid sings. Yeah, no, the kid sings.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially when you're doing it for somebody that's touring. So I don't know my directors like I used to, but this was directed by Scott Cooper. Um, it's gonna, yeah, it's. I'm really excited to see it. I'm really, you know, A Complete Unknown was really good. The Bob Dylan one
Mhm.
was, and the Freddie Mercury biopic was really good. I thought Rami
I did
Malek did
see that one.
a spectacular job.
He always does.
Say again?
Rami Malek always does a spectacular job.
Yeah, yeah. He just took that movie and owned it, and I suspect much the same.
And
Uh,
they worked on getting Freddie's teeth right.
yeah, yeah. It must have hurt. Um, it was a Jeremy Strong plays John Landau. That ought to be interesting. Uh, Mark Maron plays Chuck Plotkin. Yeah, I'm going to be really interested in seeing this. Um,
What's the story? Is it just a day in the life of
no,
Springsteen
I
on the
think it's
road?
set. Now, again, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. What I've seen, it appears to be how he got to the deeper writings of his earlier career. I think it may kind of go all the way up to like Atlantic City to
Mhm.
Nebraska, I should say. Um, I don't know if you get much after that. It's kind of how he got his chops. Um, and I don't. It would be hard to me, I think, to capture everything about Bruce Springsteen in one movie because he goes through so many different phases. We're sitting out on the beach at Asbury Park at 3 o'clock in the morning, drinking beer and after a gig. And then there's the sudden realization that, holy shit, I'm on the cover of Time magazine. And, there's just so many different phases of his life packed into such a short period of time. But I'm going to be really interested to see how it works out.
Maybe we'll know more by the time we do our Freaky Fractious Friday show.
Could be. Or you know what, Michael? Maybe we'll know nothing more. Maybe what we know now is all we're ever going to know.
That's a possibility that we're going to have to keep in the back of our mind.
We're going to have to, you're going to have to tune in, folks, on Friday and find out what we know.
Listen,
And
when
what we
Vinny
don't know.
asks me, what do you say? What do you know?
What do you hear? What do you say, man? As was said so many times by the great Leo Gorcey. No, what was I saying Leo Gorcey for? Jimmy Cagney. What do you hear? What do you say? I saw an interview just the other day with Hunt Hall and
Mhm.
Gabriel Dell, two of the original Bowery Boys.
What does
Was
Hunts have to say?
Hunt's? What did Hunt's have to say? Hunt's said a bunch of funny stuff. So
No
so
doubt.
funny that he was throwing them out there at 100 miles an hour, and you probably missed half the things he was saying.
That's our boy.
But that was Hunt's. That was the only one better was Leo. He told a great story though about Leo bought a car, and they all took off from the back lot at one of the studios and took off and got into a peck load of trouble with that car that they just bought.
No doubt.
So, but that was a different Hollywood. that was a Hollywood where guys like the fixer, what's his name? Eddie Mannix. Guys like that ran around and fixed everything. You knew every cop in town.
Driving a Coupe de Ville convertible on Fountain.
Yeah. Great stuff. All right, Michael.
Okay, Vinny.
Friday morning.
Until then,
together. We'll convene this thing for a Freaky Fractious Friday, and
go
we'll have a lot of
Mariners.
fun doing it. Go Mariners! Let's get ourselves nice and relaxed and rested up and ready for a final weekend of baseball and on into the playoffs, with the goal being the World Series.
The Fall Classic.
The Fall Classic. Ain't nothing sweeter in the world than to hear those words associated with your team, not somebody else's.
Playing baseball in October. There's only one way to
Just
get
call
there.
me Mr. November.
Yeah. See you, Vin.
See you, Mikey. I see you on Friday if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise. Until then, Michael, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. Go Mariners.
All right, Mikey. See you. Thank you all so much for listening to our little soiree. We'll see you on here Friday morning at 10 or so. We get here. Just wait for us. We get here. We promise we get here.
It's like baseball. It takes as long as it takes.
We get here. It takes some time for me to fire this thing up some days. All right. Be good. Bye-bye.